And so today we then talk about the importance of being a real father. When I say real, I mean real in the sense that you do not look at how society will view you in the decision you make to rescue or to be the father that your kids want you to be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how society will view you. Like, you know what? Ni mtoto wangu. And this is how nasikia sauti ya Mungu ikiniambia ni deal. I'm not doing it to please anyone. I'm not doing it to do anything. It's for the benefit of my child and my children. Let me say my children. So our guest today is somebody I didn't know. I'd known him for years before. Robert Wanjiku, it's good to see you. Last time I saw you was what, more than 25 years ago.
Yeah, that's many years, yeah.
So you're wondering, who is Robert Wanjiku? So Robert Wanjiku is a father who recently did the one thing that parents ordinarily, or in many ways, do, and that is to hide their shame. And he chose, I'm not going to do it differently. So this is what happened.
Kevin, you are sugarcoating. You are just sugarcoating the truth. I know I'm not alone in this. A lot of parents are here who have suffered with their daughters and sons because of alcohol. Alcohol is the biggest killer in this country. People don't want to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. Kids are dying. Nobody wants to talk about it. And that's why I'm standing in front of you as a victim to tell you the truth. My family have suffered. Mama Kamau is here. We have suffered. Emma, from the time Kamau went to Uganda, she took over. She has suffered. We have tried everything. The boy has been in and out of rehabilitation centers. I don't know whether Dirango is here. They said they would be coming. I don't know whether they are here. The last place where he went for the rehab. I know a lot of people would be saying, yes, you Niki. But let me tell you, wherever you won't have the pain. You never feel the pain that I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Wow, Robert.
I know. Yeah. Unfortunately, or possibly, or fortunately, is the only place I could have said that at my son's funeral. There's nowhere else you can be given that kind of
opportunity
to say what you feel. If it's your son, if it's your brothers, or if your sisters, or if it's your relatives' funeral, you can never be allowed to say something like that. Even at my sons, they kind of stopped me. They were trying to stop me to say anything.
How many kids do you have?
I have 3 kids. Yeah, the one is the one who left. Now I remain with 2.
Was he the eldest?
He was the second born, yeah.
So let's talk about him. Let's understand the genesis of why you made that call. Tell us about him. What was his name?
He was called...
What do you remember about him being a child?
Everything. To me, it's not a long time ago. He was born in 1983 in March, and he grew up. We grew up in the village. I grew up in the village as well, in Gathu, North. He grew up there before he left for Uganda for his secondary school. And it's when he came back that's when the problem started. And you wouldn't know until it's very, very late because, they try to hide.
Yes.
Every drunkard try to hide about their drink, and people don't talk about drinking. People, if you ask them,
yes,
every time they have an excuse, So very few people will tell you, oh, I have this problem. So we didn't know until it was very, very, very late, yes. It's when we realized, that's when we took him to the rehab.
What was he like before alcohol? What was he like as a son?
He was a very nice boy. Very, very nice boy. He was I would say, a normal kind of a boy. somebody who you can engage, but
Yes.
you can engage in conversations, you can talk to, and it's now, I realized much later that he was on something when he now started withdrawing. He would not come talk to me, he would not. That's when I realized there's a problem. But it was too late,
Why do you say it was too late? I mean,
it was too late because he was already into alcohol.
So I'm going to move you forward first. How many rehab centers did he go to?
First he went.
Yes.
He went to Thika first, where we thought this is when I think he was sick.
Right.
And when he went to Thika, the doctors realized this is too much, and a doctor approached us and asked us if we can help him. I think for him to go and go like there's something they do about the aqua. I'm not very sure.
Right,
I'm not an expert here.
I know, right.
So, but there's something they do like to withdraw help them.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was there for about 3 weeks, and when he came out, he was okay, but unfortunately, the day he came out, he went drinking. Same day.
How many times in rehab?
He went again into another rehab. This one took him. This one was for a very long time.
Right.
Because the second time he went to the rehab was in 2014, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when he went for about six months. Because for 3 months he was in the rehab.
Right.
And another 3 months where he went into what they call half house.
Right.
Half house is where they try to, put you into the community,
right.
like
yes.
to see if you can survive on your own when you're out there, right. Where you are, you go into the half house, and then in the morning you are released to go and do your normal things. He used to go into town. He did his retest for driving.
Wow.
He did computer classes. He came back in the evening. He would go back in the evening, and he continued for 3 months. He was fine. He passed his driving test again because he had lost everything. He had lost his ID. He had lost all his documents. So we were trying to get him some documents.
Start afresh.
Yes, kind of, yeah. And also we wanted to get him a place, like I wanted him to go to Qatar at least to...
Right, yes.
For him to start his own life and to be dependent.
Right.
But there you are.
Let me ask you.
Sure.
This is tough. As a father who believes is able, the responsibility, can be able to handle the responsibility of father, that is to be your child's protector, the person your child goes to when he's suffering, when he has a problem. When you see him in and out of rehab, when you see him deteriorate into this, from better to worse, how does that make you feel?
Terrible. Jimmy, it's terrible, especially when you look at your kid and you're like, oh my God, how can I help these kids?
Did you blame yourself?
I kind of, yes. But it reached a point where I thought, no, I'm not going to blame myself. Never.
Why?
Why? One, I did my best to help him. He was given the best education, just like Jimmy. We all struggle with alcohol. Let's start from there. Mm-hmm. That's the beginning. We all struggle with alcohol. We all have a drink in one.
Yes.
In your life, you've taken a drink.
Yes.
We all have. But it reaches a point where you say, now, this is it.
Tosha.
Sikunywi tena, I'm going home.
That's what you did?
No, I'm just giving you an example.
Have you ever drank before?
Me?
Yes.
I drink.
Good. Okay.
I drink, of course. Don't worry.
That's important,
yes. I drink, yes. But it reaches a point where you're like, I'm not going to drink anymore. I'm going home.
Time for me to go home, yes.
Time for me to go home. Time for me to wake up in the morning and try to make a coin.
Right. Yes, I get it.
There's working time, there's drinking time,
that's right.
There's leisure time. But for these alcoholics, chichi kama unajua, ni ugonjwa.
It is.
Yes.
It is. Any addiction is an illness.
And these is what people don't tell you. It is an addiction. It is a condition just like any other.
It is.
And unless you realize that, when you have a kid like that. Because another mistake we make, instead of bringing them closer to us, we start shouting. That's one thing I realized when it was too late. Of course, you start blaming them, you start shouting at them. You were like, what are you doing? Because, of course, they steal a lot of things from you to earn their coin.
Yes, to finance their addiction, yes.
So if you find your whatever something missing in your compound, you're not going to laugh with him. Of course, you have to shout at them. But this one does not help. Shouting does not help. I realized that one quite late. And, yeah.
Do you think you'd have done things differently? Is there a time when you sit and say maybe I like what you're saying. You shouldn't have shouted at him. Maybe you'd have handled things differently. How differently? Do you think
if it was now, maybe because I've done a lot of reading and interacting with a lot of drunkards and seen a lot of parents struggling.
Yes,
me being one of them.
Yes.
I would bring them closer to me, to talk to me, and just to see if there's anything I can.
Anything sparking.
Yeah, because alcoholism is sparked by a lot of things.
Yes. And people use it to escape the reality.
Yes.
Any addiction, really.
It is a lot of. I can read a few.
Yes.
To you.
Yes.
For you to know what's. I want you to know it's not something which just you wake up one day and find
become
yourself.
An alcoholic. Yes.
No, it is spiked by a lot of things, and I'll give you just like a few. Family history is one of them. If you're from a family where
alcoholism is
so you are a candidate. Okay?
You're susceptible to be.
Yeah. And there is something we call personal choice.
Yes.
Personal choice. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, yes.
Yeah, you're going to, after this, you go to the pub.
Yes.
That's a personal choice.
Yes.
There's mental health, which very few people talk about. Because you think, Jimmy, having one or two drinks is. But people are suffering out there. Sijui kama unajua.
Nakuelewa.
You understand?
Yes,
people are suffering out there. Okay, I'll give you another one, which is called as unsupervised underage drinking. When you tell them to have a glass of wine,
at age 10, 11 or 12 or 13.
I want you to read the statistics of Nakada. They are shocking.
Yes, they are.
They are shocking. Okay. There's traumatic experiences.
Out of these, what do you call them? Sparks.
Yeah.
Or, I'm looking for a better word. Out of the ones that you've mentioned, can I ask you
what might have triggered his drinking? It is. I would call it. I would say the second one. I would say the second one, which is a personal choice.
Not history of alcoholism in your family.
History, of course, history is to blame as well. But we all come from dysfunctional families.
No one is perfect.
It is up to us to make ourselves. It's up to us to decide. I'm not going to leave it. That is the dysfunctional part of me.
Right.
Sitaki.
Right.
In me, I want.
Right. Can I ask you?
Sure.
And because you've mentioned it, how close are you to your kids?
Right now?
Yes. How close were you before? Did anyone say anything to let you know, hey, Dad, maybe you need to look at...
Yeah, his brother talked about a lot. Because every time they would go out, he would get so drunk. You know, those days of carnival.
Does his brother drink? The rest of the family?
They all drink, yes. But, they are responsible people. They're not like him. So, it started, the way you sponsor your kids to go out to carnival those days. You know what I'm talking about. When you would give your kids some money to go out drinking, he would go and just drink all his money and now start asking other kids to buy him. So
what did his brother tell you when he was telling you, perhaps I think you need to look at,
especially
what did he say?
His brother was much younger. It was his brother, was his elder brother.
Yes.
His elder sister, who used to tell me, hey, Daddy watch mtoto, kama anakunywa sana. That's what she would tell me.
And you read.
Judy, and you are like.
Did he ever talk to his siblings about what was back? Because I like, another thing you've said is, mental capacity, traumatic experience. Did he ever speak to his siblings about what he was struggling? Because he was struggling with something.
He was,
that triggered the alcoholism to come in.
I tell you what, one of the biggest thing we have, or one of the biggest problem people face today is something we call denial. Mimi sio mlevi.
Hiyo ufanyikia familia nyingine.
Hii ni huko mimi sikunywagi vile unafikiria daddy. So denial is the first thing people struggle with. And when you start struggle, the minute you start denying that you have a problem,
which leads me to this question. And by the way, we are live on Facebook and YouTube. Your thoughts, if you have any questions for Robert Wanjiku, who's a parent who said, you know what, I'm going to do this because I believe I'm going to help somebody or family and so on. If you have any questions, at Spice FMK, hashtag is Jimmi Gathu live on both Facebook and YouTube. If you have any questions to ask. Also, because on Jimmi Gathu Live, we like to have a conversation.
Sure.
And conversation is with many people. If you are a professional who, as Robert has said, it is important for people to seek professional help. If you are there and you're listening, we would love to hear your thoughts and help us, because at the end of the day, our game plan, our end game is that we learn, we have information, and make informed choices and decisions thereafter. Yeah? So let me ask you this question.
Sure.
Why did you say that in your funeral? What
triggered me to say?
For you to say, was it guilt? Did you feel guilty this happened during your watch? Did you say it because you felt maybe I should have said something earlier? What was it, Robert?
Okay.
Yeah.
One, I knew this is the only chance I had to talk about alcoholism. People don't talk about it. As I told you earlier, at that funeral, people, even the ones, the handlers of that funeral, walikuwa wataki mimi niseme chote, usiongee.
Short illness,
priest was there. I don't know who else is there. The whole family is there. Unaongea vibaya juu ya mtoto wako. And I'm like, this is the only chance I have. Whom would I ever? When will people? By the way, I didn't prepare that speech at all. Ilitoka ndani. Because and ilitoka ndani when I looked at the program, and the whole thing was changed. I didn't even know they had changed the program. They didn't know they had changed the eulogy. What I had written is not what was on the eulogy, because they wanted to people to hear what they wanted.
Mama mtoto alikuwa. I heard you mention.
Lakini haku. She didn't see the program before.
But alikuwa support ama pia alikwambia ai woi now either way.
Asha, what happened when they went to print that thing? My younger sister, my last born son is the one who was doing the programming. The program.
Yes.
And I think the printer refused to print that, saying you can't say this about your brother. I'm still waiting to beat him, because why would you change something which has been written by the dad? Because I'm the one who drafted the eulogy, me and his brother. But he changed.
So more importantly, your family support you 100%.
They did. When I sat with my son, because that morning when he died, when he discovered him on Friday morning, on Saturday morning I took a walk with my son, and when I was walking with him, we decided this is what we're gonna do. This is how we're going to do the program. Let's make this. Let's support one another.
Amen.
And let's go and write the eulogy. And we wrote it together. And we wrote everything.
Powerful.
But when they went for printing,
the printer
decided no, here it happened.
Again, 0719, if you wish to ask Mr. Robert Wanjiku a question on air, you can do so, 0719 012 600. Send your thoughts and your questions as well. We are live on Facebook and